Aloha everyone, it is September 25 and I am currently in Bimini in the Bahamas on a dolphin retreat. It was a birthday gift from my wife Angelica, which I'm enjoying greatly, so thank you Angelica for this wonderful gift. So today, because I'm traveling, I will not be doing a Exopolitics Today week in review. Instead, what I'm doing is I am releasing the very first interview with JP since he has unmasked. He unmasked himself on September 20. And now, when he does interviews, you can hear him without any kind of filtering at all. And in this interview, he talks about returning Martians. Now, back in February of this year, JP did an update where he said he met a Nordic extraterrestrial who facilitated a total recall of what happened when he traveled or went inside a Nordic spacecraft, which he photographed after it had dropped him off. So he has photos of this spacecraft, but he didn't remember what happened inside of it. Well, because of this Nordic, JP remembered that he was inside of it, and he says that he saw the evacuation of Mars, that he saw 40 big ships leaving Mars carrying humans for Earth. Now, this new encounter JP has had with the Nordic, he was told that the Martians have returned to our solar system. So this is a different group of Martians who didn't evacuate to Earth to establish colonies on the surface or colonies under the sea. This was a group of Martians that left entirely. Well, now they are back and they have some connection with ThreeI Atlas. And this is all very interesting because on October 3rd, ThreeI Atlas will have perihelion with Mars, and so there's a lot of speculation as to what's going to happen at that time. One of the possibilities that JP mentioned is that ThreeI Atlas can change course. It could even split up, or part of it interact with, or even land on Mars. So that will be very interesting to see if any of that happens. But this is a very special update because I think what we are being told here is that returning Martians have arrived in our solar system en masse, and that at some point humanity, and here we're talking about Space Command and the Allied space powers, Russia, China, and so forth, are all going to have to get their act together to work out how they're going to deal with these advanced returning Martians with really advanced technologies who are genetically related to us. In a way, they're like our space cousins. So very interesting update. This is update number 50 with JP. So I hope you enjoy it, and I will be back in Key West next week, and we'll continue doing videos and the week in review for the following week as previously scheduled.
You're listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
Well, it is my great pleasure to have JP back with us on Exopolitics Today. And as you can see, JP is not wearing a mask. So, JP, welcome, and tell us about the unmasking.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here on your channel to bring you this next update and the unmasking. Wow. It's beautiful to see people supporting. You know, we've been talking since 2008. 2 years we've been talking on social media about my updates, and now I can show my face. I'm really happy uh, that I get to do this because, people need to see the energy that's behind the mask, the face and the soul through the eyes. A lot of people were telling me in the conference, uh, that they feel really happy that I showed my face and that it was time because we're living interesting times. There's a lot of good things happening that are collaborating what we talked about in the last 2 years. So it's a lot of good things happening. So I'm really happy and I feel protected.
Yes, it's great. Awesome. Well, I'm very happy that you unveiled, you unmasked, and I know there's a lot of interest in you and who you are, your identity, and this is the first step in a process. I mean, now you've revealed yourself, and I guess revealing the full name and releasing documents. I mean, that's in the pipeline.
Yeah, that's in the pipeline. Probably people already know my name, but I'm going to leave it as it is until
Mhm.
further notice. Uh, yeah, it's just I'm gaining a lot of people, so I have to be really careful.
Well, there's definitely a lot of interest in your case. I mean, we had 200,000 views of you unmasking on the Twitter
Oh wow.
feed or X feed where I uploaded your video. So that's a lot of people that saw you unmasking in that little video you did from the hotel. Well, it is September 24, and you actually have an update to share with us. So you want to tell
I
us
do. I do.
tell
Have
us
an
about
update.
what you experienced.
So last night, right? I got this from the conference, right? And it's an awesome like type of laser that you move around. So last night I was just, playing around with it, see if I can get some contact. Uh I saw a flash behind my wood line. So I started walking over there with the laser and I just started flashing the laser all around. And it was a guy, the same guy that I talked last time, but I tried to look for his vehicle or anything that he came in, and he did not have nothing. So he was just standing there, and then he went like this to me. And then he was like talking to me, but I was hearing him through my mind. And I actually this morning I put the reel out on Instagram and Facebook of us talking about that experience we had, that update I gave you about Mars. About he took me inside the ship. He showed me, like, I don't know if we went through time or something, but I saw the planet. I asked him what planet it was, and he said it was Mars. And I saw like 40 ships coming out of Mars heading towards the location of Earth. And I was counting the ships by 10 because they were coming up by tens. So I just put that reel on Instagram and Facebook just so people have an idea about that update. And that update, he was remembering me of how that happened and why they gave me that information. I don't remember what date was that, Doc, that we put that out. I think that was, let me see here. I'll look it up real quick because that's really important, the date. Let's see. The videos. So I want people to understand that this was way before this update because what's happening now is relevant. And I asked him why you showed me this. Why? Okay, this was I think 7 months ago. we did this update.
I'm trying to find that update as well.
25% per high.
So
This is not the interdimensional angel behind your house, right?
See this information.
well, that's the same being that was talking to me, but he was talking to me about this experience I had with this other Nordic. So he looks really the same, but he looked more Nordic. And I felt the same vibe from him of being like, well, I had the laser on him. He told me, put down the laser. It was a green laser, but I could see his glow. You could still see his face. And I think right here it says the date.
Wonderful. So roughly a week ago, we're talking around February 11, you had an encounter with a Nordic ET outside of your home in Florida. So why don't you tell us what happened?
So February 11th, we had this update, and he talked to me. And last night, we had a brief talk, like a 10 minutes talk. And after he talked to me, he disappeared. He disappeared. He walked towards the woods, and I tried to follow him, but he just phased out. Like he started like phasing out, like if he was vibrating, like in the high state, and then he just disappeared. And I saw the same glitter. I don't know if you remember that video I sent you. That the fabric turns into a like a glitter and it disappears. So he turned just like that and disappeared.
I remember that, yes.
And that video, you know, it was in 2009 that I gave you that video. And man, it's so sad.
Yeah, I remember it was. Yeah, that was, I think, 2015, 16, something like that.
Okay.
You sent me that video, and unfortunately, I lost it on my phone during one of my phone breaks, and I think you had a similar problem. So we don't have the video anymore, but I remember very clearly you showing something disintegrating, and you were describing it of like a patch or part of the patch from the extraterrestrial that you had taken.
So he disintegrated just like that. And I'll probably have that video. I have to look through my because we save everything that we have in phones. So I must have that video. Once I have that video, we can do an update. We can show that video because that can prove a lot of things, you know, that I went through. So he phased out. But what he told me is that Mars is going through a transition now. And we have a lot of these ships coming in our solar system. And I said, what do you mean ships? And it says, those that you are calling asteroids or comets are not necessarily asteroid and comets. They are ships coming in from outer your solar system. And they're coming back for not a reunion, but to relocate. And I said, who are these beings? And the Nordic ET said, these beings are not like us. They're different. So the Nordic was telling me that they're not Nordics. The beings are coming in from these ships. And then now we're seeing all this happening with, okay, he showed me ships going out. And they look like cigar-shaped ship. I'll send you the video of how they look like. I put it in the reels. And now these massive ships are coming in our solar system. And possibly, I did an update with Emery Smith and we did one of the first updates on this. And I think we talked about this too, Doc, about ThreeI Atlas. And a lot of people started talking about it after we brought it up. But I did an update with Emery that we said that it had a percentage of hitting Mars. Now, I think the scientist Albie Loeb is saying that, yeah, it's a high possibility that this ThreeI Atlas might hit Mars or land on Mars. So on the update I did with Emery, I said that, hey, possibly this ship or this thing that's coming in our solar system is going to activate probably the arks and are activating certain things around our solar systems. And now we have Swan. That's
Well, I know that I know that ThreeI Atlas is actually going to be hitting its close, passing by Mars. Mars and Comet 3I are in perihelion, like at their closest approach.
okay. So yeah, on perihelion, we're not going to be able to see, right, the interaction with
Correct.
ThreeI Atlas and Mars. But we also got that massive object that's like 200 times bigger. Swan. Yeah.
There are Mars orbiters.
Yes. Yes, we have Mars orbiters, and I'm sure we have.
I just wanted to say that there are these orbiters around Mars.
We do, but if they're also saying that if this
the orbiters might see 3I Atlas.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Juno too, right? If it passes Mars and passes through through Jupiter, we also have Juno around Jupiter. But we also have people working in our solar system as well that are activated and also following what's happening in our solar system. It's so he was telling me that these are people coming back. He said people coming back into our solar system, and the governments know about this. The Nordics know about this, and they're preparing a big reveal soon. So he was telling me that, and he said it was a reason why I told you about Mars and why the ships were leaving. Evacuation. I think it was a long time ago that he was showing me this image on the ship's wall. He was showing me this image on the ship's wall, and he just disappeared when he told me that. So, it was like a 15 minutes.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember from that update that we did, I guess back in February, where Mars and the evacuation from Mars, that they showed you imagery from that. That's interesting. And so now this Nordic is continuing to talk about Mars, giving you the context for who these people are that are returning, that they are the Martians who left millennia ago, that they're now returning, and ThreeI Atlas is playing a role in their return. Is that it?
I'm not saying that it's playing a role, but it's activating the solar system in a way that makes these other ships get closer to our inner solar system. So I think it's an activation type of device, like an activation device that has technology and things that we don't even comprehend it has. So, and I think other types of ETs try to get close to it, but it doesn't let nothing get close to around it because of the plasma that it's creating. So it's really, really, really interesting times that we're living. And I think people need to realize that everybody's talking about it. So there's a reason for that. So this is where the false flag
so this Nordic
come in.
So this Nordic is
Yeah.
So this Nordic, he's really trying to give us a heads up that a lot of these ships that have now arrived in our solar system contain with them returning Martians. And but they're going to go where, to Mars? I mean, they're going to come to Earth? I mean, what would be the kind of like false flag element to that?
So they're saying, I'm hearing from other soldiers that they got intel. I was stationed here in Eglin Air Force Base, shit ton of Air Force, Space Force, personnel, Marines, Army. There's everybody here. We're the biggest Air Force base. And I'm hearing from other soldiers that they'll probably hit Mars first. They'll probably go to Mars first prior, set up something over there, and come to Earth after to activate whatever other things that needs to be activated. And I think that's including the arks as well. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing other soldiers talking about, and other people that are high up there in ranks. So I'm thinking probably like a false flag alien invasion type. Oh, they're hitting Mars first, so now we got to prepare Earth because they're going to come here next. They're hitting planet by planet resources, but it's not really like that. It's not. From my understanding, they're just coming back home because a long time ago they left, and they also seeded Earth, and they seeded other planets around out of our solar system on different star systems. So they're just swarming back home at once. So it's not just coming from one star system. These people are coming back from other star systems back to Mars. And I just hope they don't say it's an alien invasion. Really, they're just coming back home.
I see. Very interesting. So at this time, when people are watching this video, this is roughly when ThreeI Atlas and Mars are in perihelion, their closest approach, and at the same time, this incoming fleet of ships that have arrived recently, they're heading to Mars as well, and they're going to start dropping off these former Martians back on Mars, I assume, to rebuild.
I assume it's to rebuild. If not, if we don't see that happening, them going to Mars, it's probably Earth that they're heading to, because that's where ancestors went, I guess, of these people. And they're taller than the Nordics. They're taller beings, similar to the ones from the oceans.
So that's very interesting.
So similar to the cities inside our oceans and our deep parts of our oceans. So these are the beings that look similar to the ones that came from Mars. They're really tall beings, but they're, I think they adapted to living inside our oceans. And also Mark Burchett, he was talking about something earlier, I think last week, about this, and this blew my mind when this Nordic was telling me this.
Okay, so the Nordic's main purpose in giving you this information is to prepare us in the case that these returning Martians actually don't return to Mars, but actually come to Earth, that they are like our ancestors, and what, we have nothing to fear from them, that they want to talk with us, negotiate with us.
We don't work as much with them as the Nordics. They work with them. The Nordics, they really work with these people that live inside our oceans and live in these inner cities inside our deep parts of our oceans. They're probably hundreds of thousands of years more advanced than us. Still, I'm sure they created cities that can withstand the pressure of what these waters have. And they have these orbs that come out from our oceans and do recon. And I know the Nordics, they do have these orbs as well that come out and do recon. And we've been talking about this for years, Doc, about these orbs coming out. And they can withstand the pressure of coming out from the oceans and coming back and bringing this information back to these beings that live in our inner oceans. But they also are going to space, going to other places, and coming back to Earth. So these orbs comes in different sizes. And I think all the puzzles are just coming together. You know, we have Alabama Space Command just moved there, and now we have an idea where the spaceports are at. So all the confirmations of all the updates that, you know, if people look back on all the videos that we have done, you know, they have thousands and thousands of views of people. And we know that all these updates, if people go back and puzzle together all these updates that we did and all the confirmation and the collaboration of everything that's happening at once, people can put the puzzles together. You know, we basically brung disclosure in a drip drop kind of way, Doc. And that is amazing. That is amazing. And then we got the spiritual and interdimensional.
Yeah, I agree.
realm.
All the elements are there in all these updates that you've given us over the last team when we started talking about what was happening at MacDill. So as I understand you then, these returning Martians are connected to the underwater civilizations. So these underwater civilizations, are they going to take in these returning Martians? Is that what we can anticipate in the future?
I think that's gonna be that's what's gonna happen. And the arks are also going to be activated by them, because the Nordics are working the arks, but I think they need something from these guys, these other people. Because I'm sure on Mars we have arks as well. I don't know exact the location of the arks on Mars, where they're at, but I'm sure, I think we will see in a couple weeks what's going to happen with ThreeI Atlas and how Mars looks like after the perihelion, you know, to see if
we do know that the Martians, I mean, that's something that the remote viewing that the CIA sponsored of Mars showed, that they have arks, and some of these arks brought some of the Martians to Earth, and those Martians settled on Earth and procreated here and bred in, but their arks were buried. And so some of the arks on Earth are Martian, but you're saying that some of these returning Martians, that the space arks that they're on are kind of like similar to the ones that are here on Earth, and that the Nordics who have been taking over the Earth arks or working with them closely probably will benefit a lot from the returning Martians who understand more about the ark technologies.
yes, exactly what I'm saying, Doc. It's gonna be an eye opener if these people do show up. And I know people are interacting more with UFOs. People are interacting more with different types of ETs. The inner ETs, the ant people, are coming out more. There's more people coming out saying, "Hey, yeah, we seen the ant people." It was funny because in the conference, a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, a quick question about the ant people. can they be aggressive when you approach them? And I said, yes, they could get aggressive in a way because they're protecting their territory. So yeah, I interacted with an ant person in one of these parks, and he was kind of aggressive, but then he got friendly. So there's a lot of people having interactions on these parks, different types of national parks with the ant people and other people that have lived in our inner earth that are coming out with wisdom. So we have all these buildups right now in Puerto Rico with the military. And I know that is for a reason. You know, there's always a backstory on everything that's happening, Doc. We know that when it comes into with ETs and, you know, the arks and all that. And we put the puzzles together. We know why the movements of things are happening. Now Ukraine, you know, we can't talk a lot about that, but what's happening with, you know, what the president talked in the United Nations and now supporting Ukraine. Why is that happening? Because of maybe the arks there on the sands have more information that we can probably get into. Maybe that's why they want to take back Oleski Sands and that area and move back the soldiers. But I don't want to get into that because that's military politics, and I can get in a little trouble.
Well,
so,
but it is an important point because a lot of people are mystified as to why Donald Trump has reversed his policy and is now saying that Ukraine can retake the lands that have been conquered by Russia. It's because the decision's been made, or people are advising Trump that, well, we need to get the Ukrainians to recapture this Oleshki Sands nature park because that's where the Ukraine space ark is buried.
Yeah. So, why the back and forth? What information have we got from the Atlantic arc that we want to investigate on the Ukrainian arc? Maybe we found something or we activated something on the arc that we want to try on other arcs to see if it works. And these arcs, they're just beacons of sending out waves of connections to bring these other ships back. These other ships back from other star systems and our solar systems. So it's calling all these ships back. These are beacons. And they're arcs as well. They carry a lot of history and a lot of knowledge, a lot of library, a lot of knowledge, a lot of technology. And they're scattered around our solar system, including Mars. So we're living interesting times. And, not too long ago, they just mentioned about life on Mars as well. So that's another one, Doc?
Right. So what is happening? So the Nordic shared that information with you. Now I think we just have a very bad connection here. So maybe we should start wrapping it up. So
okay,
what do you want to say to kind of wrap everything up that you've shared?
Have your eyes on the skies. Have your eyes on the love frequency. Have your heart on the love frequency. And always be connected with each other. We're all connected. We are always connected. And that's all we need to understand. And we're in this together. Let's treat each other with kindness. Much love. Akuria Mate. And JP out.
You have been listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Join or start a conversation in the comments. Take the time to explore the vast library of best-selling books, webinars, and podcasts by Dr. Sala. Visit exopoliticstoday.com.